Dig it.
Welcome to Splat Attack, a 90s podcast honoring the slime-filled past.
I have to tell you, do you want to know? I'm going to be very honest here. I'm going to put it all out there. Do you want to know what my memory was? I was like, this guy's hot. He can definitely play my boyfriend.
So your character thought that too.
30 years ago, people. 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, keeping it real, I was like, yup, he can be my boyfriend.
The feeling was mutual, I gotta say. So that's
so
why
sweet.
it worked.
This is Vote Boy and Vote Girl signing off! Thanks for voting tonight. The phone lines are closed now, but you can still vote on America Online, Keyword Nick, or at nick.com. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 8 to vote for more of your favorites. And remember, kids rule! Ta-da! Save from Charms. What? Cut.
I love that commercial. Yes. And blow pops are like my favorite. To this day, if I find a blow pop in my kid's candy bowl, I'm like,
Yeah, there's still one in there.
and certain stores have like the super big blow pops, like they're like a little bit bigger than the regular one. Oh,
But there is one movie that I want to address that is part of the Disney Renaissance and most people don't think about. And it needs more recognition because it is a great movie.
Hercules?
No, I mean, Hercules gets
attention though.
it's a sequel.
Oh.
And it's actually one of the very few sequels that is far, far better than the first one.
Is this Return to Jafar?
No.
Or Return of Jafar?
I know.
No.
What is it, Manny?
Rescuers Down Under.
That's the one.
Rescuers Down Under. Okay.
That's
yeah,
the
no.
one.
And that episode too, it has a line that I love when Michael's about to lay down on the bed for the first time, and they go, "What's that stain?" He goes, "Oh, it was a raccoon. We just dragged it out this morning. Did he die here? No, that's where he suffered." It's such a good, funny line. Even you're not saying raccoon suffering is funny, but just how the delivery and everything was great.
If the player rolls both die and the roll is equal to or greater than the amount needed, that player collects the mission location card. If they fail, their turn is over.
I came back. You didn't like me as a bird, now I'm a bear, son. Doesn't matter, it didn't work. I don't even have the bear essentials to get it right.
Interestingly enough, though, by the same company, Trendsetters, is this weird roll of Nickelodeon toilet paper. And the best and / worst part about this is that it has a spot that says Splat Zone, which I think is very questionable.
Alex, quickly. Are you marked and set? Squirt!
Oh no!
So it's there's two warnings on this.
Only two.
There's
a warning?
There's Splat Zone. There's also Spurt Alert.
Oh my gosh, worse!
is no better.
And I know they want more eyeballs on their stuff, but you have to get people that voice their stuff. Because it's like, no kid is going to be walking down the street and going, "Oh, Ben Stiller, Jada Pinkett Smith is in this? Mom, I want to see this movie."
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
No kid is going to go see Lion King and go, "Matthew Broderick."
exactly.
I mean, it's an art form. It's voice acting really is in itself an art. So I feel like when you get celebrities like, boost ticket sales or whatever, or just have the name attached to that project, it cheapens it a lot because like you're losing that art. And I think something Christine did really well was like she had like her voice was distinct, like you knew it was her, like Babe and Chucky and Obelina. Like if you look at the compilations and you listen to them back to back, it's like it's the same person, but the characters are vastly different with if she has like the accents or the breath work or whatever she's doing with little affectations, like you were saying, Jordy. It's like it's an art form, and she was one of the greats.
There's definitely overlap in all these ideas, by the way.
I mean, a lot of the ideas that and approaches, because you're taking different approaches with a character versus a family versus a community, and how they, create their identity. Because, to some degree, at one point, I used to pitch Clarissa as being totally original and different, and that cool, weird girl. And there was a sense that, oh no, those girls never succeed. They're always the ones that are depressed, and you don't, so there was also a kind of aspirational fantasy that you could be so different and weird, dressed the way you want it, because she totally dressed in her own completely way, a new way, which was not a norm at the time, which is
But she
amazing.
had confidence in doing it. He was
Right.
very confident in doing it. Larissa was very kind of, does this work? Does this
No,
work?
it's a different approach.
Yeah.
What's gotten into Smud?
My Smud has glitter, my Smud has back.
Spectacular!
New Speckle Smud, he's a smash, he's a hit, he's every bit spectacular.
I got a friend of mine, and we're actually going to do the infamous Know Your Stars as
yes.
as a buffer for the Kickstarter stuff.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is we're also going to film the entire process of making the album, from the writing to all that. That's going to be completely included. It's going to be a great experience.
The Know Your Stars thing is going to be great.
Yes, I'm going to do that. And then we plan to have the album out in November, because I'm going to SplatCon.
Oh, nice.
In LA. I'm definitely going to that, and that's their first convention, so it'd be cool to maybe do some music stuff, but I'm also doing some traveling. So I am going to go to Jersey to the Nickelodeon Nickelodeon amusement park thing they have out there, because they got the big Olmec out at the place. Is cool. And then Mark Summers started doing the Double Dare stuff back in New York. That just started, I believe, next month. So it's going to be like different trips and milestones and things. So it just combines it. And then maybe at the end, if I can figure it out in the right place, right time, I'm going to do a slime.
On the one hand, yeah, you've got this great job, and if this path is opened up to you, sure, take it. But man, college is such a great experience and a great time, and it shapes so much of your life, and how much you learn, and scheduling and all this stuff, and just becoming an adult and in this business, because you're around so many adults. As a child actor, it really puts you in a weird headspace, because you're still this young person, but you're around grownups, and grownups can't, unlearn what they know, and so I think that's where it gets really tricky for really younger actors in this business, because they're surrounded by such an adult world.
As a kid, especially for me, you get dragged around to a lot of places. They always have like these kids section areas where you just dump your kids off while you go do something. But I get dumped off there, and they always be playing PBS, right? Because everybody has access to PBS, so there would always be something playing on PBS, educational mostly, and like Zoom stood out to me. And then I was trying to think of some more that like really impacted me growing up, and I found it hard to kind of like draw the line, because when you're so young, so much stuff is educational in its nature, like what they try to present you with. So I tried to find stuff that I would think was like strictly educational, and I think the first one that came to me the most was Bill Nye the Science Guy.
There it was.
Bill, Bill.
Bill.
Is there anybody else you would have liked to be, even if they weren't your direct opposites?
Thelma? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, this Anique made it look so much fun. I would have loved to have done Thelma. She's like
it was fun, Kristen, and it would have been great to be Ritu.
I wouldn't have dodged the makeup chair though, but I think it still would have been worth it.
Goddard, partly because of he wasn't wearing makeup, but also a cool character.
Come on, Paige. No, I don't know. I was I don't know, new in the acting game. I was just in it, kind of, Anique, you mentioned it, like as kids, like in it in the moment for me and that, and I really didn't think much outside of what my role was on the show. So I never even really considered what it would be like to take on the role of somebody different, or act like, I think I would have been terrified if they had said I needed to be Thelma. I had no idea what to do. Like, all I know is to be happy. And so no, I never even considered what it would be like to be somebody else. I felt that being my polar opposite Bova character was a stretch as it was. So I never thought about it.
You swapped with Goddard, you could have just been in a coma all episode.
I could have just laid there. Yeah.
Was that
Name the popular syndicated sitcom Suzanne Summers went on to star after Three's Company.
After Three's Company.
Oh, shh. I may have just screwed you over.
It's okay. It's gonna happen that way.
Yeah.
I
didn't realize I read it out loud.
Thigh Master, QVC salesperson.
No,
the
this
TV
is before
show.
that.
Oh, shit.
That's when she needed money.
Oh. I don't know.
She's the sheriff, and she was.
Well, I'm just about them apples. Got a hat again. To the moon, Alice.
Oh, honeymooners.
Person. Who's the one?
Oh, Ralph Crammer.
There you go.
Listen, I'm gonna say that was probably one of the most truest advertisement of Chip, because let me just say, when the girl wipes her hand on her shorts from the regular chips, that's true. Those things are so coated in salt and grease that you're literally like, but Pringles do not do that. It is true. They are not.
Do they still do that? I don't consider that to be much of a problem anymore.
What?
The bag chips. Do they still give you really greasy hands?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think so, especially Lay's.
Look, honestly, before I go with any other opinion, I want to say that these people looked like they were having a lot of fun, and I know what it's like to make home movies, and it was the 90s, and I love the creativity and everything, and especially with no special effects or CGI, fantastic. That having been said, I really did not like it very much. And it was because there was really sort of uncomfortable moments that included going to the bathroom on screen, possibly murdering somebody, food poisoning somebody, seeing some guy's belly shake back and forth like this, like, look at my hand, that's the way it looked. So yeah, I felt very dirty and, I guess, in like words, icky watching it. So it wasn't for me. And I'm going to say thumbs down, Siskel.
I don't know, just meeting real people, having real people just talk about their experiences on something, especially as big as that show was, and you get to hear all these people reminiscing about like what they used to, it's just great to hear these stories of people talking about the good old days and how awesome it was and all the fun. And then you can go visit the locations and, and then see the product on the screen and you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about and that kind of stuff. So it's just, I don't know. I've always found it interesting. Documentaries have always just been an interesting field for me, watching and making.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly nice to have that a little bit of that control too, right? Like it's probably one of the more pure forms of filmmaking, especially for Kimo and I, when we started on really big films, which is awesome. We got to, experience some incredible, we had some incredible learning opportunities, but the flip side of that is you really are a very small cog in a very big machine. Here we got a chance to, sort of get into it and take that risk and see if anybody cared to watch our vision. And fortunately, a few people have.
Yeah, totally. The same thing for me. You can make something with just a couple of friends, and have a really small crew, but still make something that looks professional. When you're trying to make a feature-length film that's, with actors and stuff, if I tried to do it with the budget that, we had done the Orange Years, it would have been very difficult to make it look high quality.
Got big plans for the weekend? You bet you do, because it's Nickelodeon's Big Help Weekend. The celebration kicks off during a special SNCC, hosted by LL Cool J and Melissa Joan Hart. Then on Sunday, don't miss the 1997 Big Help-a-thon, hosted by Mike O'Malley and co-hosted by Larissa Olenek.
This is one of my favorite things in my Goosebumps collection. Why this is so cool is this is a Goosebumps hat from the Goosebumps fan club subscription.
Oh
And
my gosh.
maybe you guys might remember the Goosebumps fan club subscription. I don't know. You guys remember that?
I'm vaguely familiar with it.
Yeah.
I was not a member, but I remember that it existed, and that's taking me back.
I had forgotten all about it till you just mentioned it.
But I don't know if you guys remember Cherry Coke at that time. The design for it was this red and black can that looked nothing. And in my child brain, as I often do, I see things that look similar. I'm like, these must be connected. And I thought it had something to do with Darth Maul. Every time I looked at the can, I'm like, it's a Darth Maul collaboration.
I can see it. Your brain is producing marketing tie-ins everywhere.
Exactly. I'm seeing it everywhere. All the connections are being made.
So I had my own signature sketch with Fuzz. It was just me and Fuzz. But, you know, once again, one-liners. We're going back and forth. And, you know, with a little bit of practice and rehearsals, it is what it's not too difficult if you're a trained actor, right? But what Amanda did.
Monologues.
Monologues,
One
sitting there
shot.
on a bed, one shot, many. That is what's crazy. I've seen her do it so perfectly multiple times. And they'll like, do it again. And she'll do it again. Do it one more time. We didn't like the middle. Start from this line. And she would just recall, start from the middle, finish it out, and go have this incredible energy. And the precision, her ability, her diction, her ability to get out those lines, stay in character at that age is just uncanny. So I would say that was number one.
The most critical pieces to this game are the character pieces, which, if you remember from the Wild Thornberrys game, are designed to have a front and back, along with a plastic rocker base. This is not a base that lies flat on the board, but as the name suggests, the bottom is rounded, causing the piece to tilt in nearly any direction.
Wiggle it around too much, what's gonna happen?
Fall down.
It's gonna fall down! We don't want it to fall down.
Okay, so I know this movie is not like one of the best Musketeer probably adaptation, but it's such a great movie. But I mean, it should be up there in the top tier because you got Tim Curry as your villain, first of all, and Oliver Platt is just hilarious in this movie.
What is the quote you always say? You say it every time with this movie. There's two quotes you always say.
Hello, ugly.
Yeah,
when he
there's
says
one.
that one.
What's the other one you always say?
D'Artagnan, we got to save the king.
It's always those two. Every time.
He would come out out of costume as himself, and then also in costume as like different characters. And you're right, yeah, the Raid on the Bat seems to be the most shared of all of the clips. Probably because it's just so funny to see his head on like the tiny little body of the bat.
I think it's just because it's the one that's the easiest to find.
That's true, but the Hunchback one, which is the one I find the funniest, because I feel like there's these little punchlines that he has for each of the characters, but the time is going by so quickly, so he's trying to get everything out. But some of those punchlines are so good, and they're like fading out as it's cutting to like the McDonald's World ad that always was like a company. At least
for
a few
real?
years.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed out on that. Interesting.
And we went through thousands of hosts, and at one point they tried to have my husband try out for the host, and it's like, no, that is the stupidest idea I ever heard, and we're in deep trouble. This is never going to work. And so in the last minute, like a week before the show started to tape in Philadelphia, we found Mark Summers, and he was absolutely spectacular.
It's a Nickelodeon Orange Appeal. I want you to take the physical challenge. Mark Summers,
Hold it. I'm not talking about that kind of physical challenge. I'm talking about the challenge to get physically fit. Get outside, ride a bike, do some running, or just take a walk. Just a half hour a day of exercise can help you get your body and brain working together so you can make it through any obstacle course you find in front of you.
This Orange Appeal was brought to you by the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports and Nickelodeon.
So I've got a couple scripts here from the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo.
Oh, Jordy.
Oh, Jordy.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
are
a
you a
big one
fan?
for
Are you
me.
a fan?
He's
Shelby?
a
Oh,
fan.
yes.
He's a
Big fan.
That's his show.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
this is episode, and these are first season scripts. So this one is episode 105, To Catch a Fish.
Oh, wow.
God.
Okay.
Oh.
And then I've got episode 106, Lost in Space.
Oh, the Lost in Space. That's one of the best. I love. Yeah, the episode. That was one of the crazier ones. The plot is actually insane. And this is probably one of the craziest because I never saw anyone have this one, but this is the ice cream cone, and this I always have trouble unfolding this guy. He's like a top part, and there you go.
Yeah.
This is the dino. So his arms comes out, his head pops out like that. At the end, you could just so fun, right? And then here we go. This is the last one. We have fries.
That was my
What does the fries do?
So let's see if I can-
The Manny's head is exploding. What does the fries do?
What do the fries do?
Oh, I love you, Manny.
Oh man. Okay, here we go. Oh
Right,
wow.
our inner
yeah.
child is just geeking out.
The
Like,
childlike innocence in his eyes right now.
So he's all folded out. His
Oh,
little
I like
arms
that
comes
one. I
out.
never had that one.
Wow,
That's
that's so neat.
I love it.
And that's what I really, really love about these is like each one is cool in its own way, but when you find the next one, it's like not only is like, oh my god, it's so cool to see like a little miniature, McDonald's meal in itself, right? But then it's like, how does it transform? How does it unfold? And they were just so clever with these. Like, I don't know who
Absolutely.
they hired to
Yeah.
make these specifically, but this was like a cut above a lot of like the simple McDonald's toys that they were releasing.
Oh yeah.
There was one time we still talk about where we pulled into the lot and Pat jumped on the roof of our car. And my brother was driving and he's got Pat on the roof and he's just holding on to it. We don't know what he was doing or what he was thinking, but Matt didn't know whether he's like, I can't stop. He's going to fly off, but I can't keep driving because I'm going to kill him. What do I do? I didn't know what to tell him. We just slowly coasted to a stop and then he got off. Kept on walking like
Again,
nothing
I had
happened.
no idea that ever happened.
That's a good way to get around town, I guess.
My favorite is it was I can't believe this, but we were rehearsing a scene, and then it was a what do you call the person who is kind of the main AD who kind of directs everything, like a Virgil. What was
First
his-
AD.
First AD. So it was not Virgil. It was someone that we hardly really see, and I guess he's not the most worldly. And we rehearsed the scene, and Adam said to me, "Did you hear that?" I said, "What?" He said, "He just called Pat Mr. Mitsubishi or something." I said, "No." He said, "Yes, I heard him." He said, "Mr. because they would call him Mr. Morita." I said, "Mr. Mitsubishi."
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
Clarissa explains your favorite messy places to keep your junk.
What? It's not all that messy right now. Depends on who I'm watching.
Excuse me?
What? I broke Jason with that one.
It's not hard. Okay. I'm gonna try to get through this card.
Splat attack after dark.
Yeah. Having a place where you let your junk pile up is a great service to the archaeologists of the future. Once in a while, your parents demand that you clean these spots up immediately. This is not getting any better.
And I also like that you can play the PC
Yeah.
and you're not really having to destroy a relationship with your friends.
Which he has not learned. He wanted to play Monopoly with his father and I warned him. I was like, Sam, you don't understand. You will not win this game. Like, we hadn't even started. And he was like, how do you know that? I was like, I'm just saying, son, take your mother's advice and pick a different game.
10
But I want to
years.
play it. No, you don't understand. Your father has some possessive way that he wins this game. It does not matter. You will lose badly. And he did.
Yeah, but regular kids with goofy talents, that's great.
Yeah, celebrating the kids, and then if you were like me and wanted to know, okay, well, which guests are going to be on the panel, like I would wait for I would wait for specific people, wondering if they're going to bring them on, and so that was kind of the draw too, to just keep you watching. Like you never knew who was going to show up there and get slimed, and
exactly.
It had the slime, it had like the mini games, like the charades, it had the guessing game with the kid, it had Nick Stars, like it was really a perfect storm of at the time, like this is Nickelodeon in one show.
Yeah.
Almost.
Very much. Very, very much. Loved that show. But Danny stole the show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And usually, I mean, Keenan and Kel, they stole everything they were ever in, but they Figure It Out was Danny and Lori Beth's show. How long at the end of the episode? Because they always did the, reprise the theme song or roll the credits. And then there's just this big dance party. And of course, on TV, the camera just fades out and finishes, gives the little logos, and they're done. How long did those usually go? Did they just do just enough, or did they just keep going?
Just as you saw, that stuff was live. We didn't rehearse the stuff during the week. The little party stuff. I would always go over and pick up John Pena's bass. He'd let me touch it, so and act like I was playing with them because I love the band members. I like to hang with them. And it just took as long as it took. You can see the speed of the credits depending on where the show landed, time wise. I think they had a block of like 1:30 for that to happen within, and then they would cut to the logos when they had to. But you can tell the speed of the credits determined how long we were. If we were going too long,
We're here at the finish line of the 1995 Nickelodeon Super Toy Run, Sacramento, California's Andrew Moose, also known as the Moose. He's behind me right now. He just turned this Toys R Us upside down, folks. He scored big, a mountain full of toys, loads of screaming fans. We'll talk to him in a minute, but take a look at this run right now.
His lab coat, is custom. Like down here,
yeah,
those are pieces from the firefighter, but the back and all of this custom, because he's got the suit on underneath. So you need just a regular, a regular business guy that you sand off the stethoscope, or doctor, sand off the stethoscope. Then you got your basic torso, and then the legs, firefighter arms.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow.
I love that they didn't just customize one figure. They took apart a bunch of them and reassembled.
Yeah, so you can use this head sculpt and you basically you make your goggles out of clay.
Yeah.
And you sand all this of his head to give him those patches. Right? He's got these weird clown patches.
Yeah.
For his hair.
Yeah.
Little tuft in the front. There's nothing we could do.
I was a big Mary Poppins fan when I was a kid. Little Mermaid, Mary Poppins, and Wizard of Oz, I would watch on repeat and be happy. So I remember meeting Mary Poppins outside Cinderella's castle, and that was that was the white whale for me. What the autograph or photo I wanted to get. Mary Poppins in the full the dress with the hat, that version of Mary Poppins.
Every time I look at this movie, it always brings me joy, even though it brings a lot of people a lot of disappointment. It's called Clifford, and it stars Martin Short and Charles
Yes!
Grodin. Yes! Wait, Alex!
Yes! Freaking sitting in that little roller coaster dinosaur thing. Oh!
Yeah!
Yes! Oh my God.
And Charles Grodin just loses his mind. Yes!
That just
Okay.
unlocked a memory because I totally
Have you
forgot
seen it?
about that. Yeah. When he said the
Wow.
little roller coaster thing, and I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's just the whole movie is just you're just supposed to just go with it. Okay, Martin Short was like 40 years old when he made this movie, but he's playing a 10-year-old kid. You're supposed to just follow this.
Go with it.
Just go
Suspend
with
your
it.
disbelief.
Just don't ask questions. Just go.
And all of a sudden, you know, that wonderful 90s special effects in the mirror, and the little girl, the ghost of the little girl appears doing these numbers because she can't speak. So the story behind that was the girl he used to
you should cover that because that's kind of important.
Kevin, we're getting there, okay? We're getting there. Unconventional. So we're gonna Tarantino this, rewind. Back years ago, the family who lived in this house, the little girl, she couldn't speak. Maybe she was deaf. We don't know, Jill. She just couldn't speak, okay? Real argument that happened on the show, by the way.
Once a human pawn has the magic ring and makes it safely to the crypt, the player is to drop a skull down the crypt. If it lands on the left side, which is empty, nothing happens. The headless ghost still haunts this graveyard, and the player will have to try again on their next turn. If the skull lands on the right side, the skull will trip the launcher holding the headless ghost, launching it into the air, which makes that player the winner.
Looking at the website, I mean, you have stuff from Disney, Nickelodeon, Mary-Kate and Ashley, you've got Chuck E. Cheese, Blockbuster, like all these different properties. It's so expansive. Do you have a current favorite that you're researching or that you're into right now? I know I know you probably can't pick a favorite, but current favorite maybe.
That's a good question. That's a good question because that's really hard. I do think I have that problem where I love so many different things. I definitely have been loving a lot of like the Chuck E. Cheese, Discovery Zone,
Yeah.
those like Pizza Hut, McDonald Land, kind of that like 90s birthday party threw up all over you. I don't know why, but I love that.
Then when the movie came out, I had Mom rent it for me one day, and I watched it. And then I think that was my first clue where Mom's allegiances were in terms of Rosie O'Donnell, because I think she was looking into it beforehand, and she said, you know, she turns into Rosie O'Donnell, right? I'm like, so I don't care. Most of the movie, she's Christina Ricci.
You know, she turns into, this is the phrase that, you
That's
know, she turns
canonical,
into
right?
Rosie O'Donnell, right?
That's what happened to her later on in life. Is she turned into a second Rosie O'Donnell?
Slowly morphed. The Rosie morphs.
I'd watch it more so than Animorphs, so yeah.
That would be a cover to see.
Oh my god, it would.
Just flip the little flip books on the corner page.
Yeah.
Silhouette.
See that smile slowly going away.
The hair slowly go back into this blonde look.
Going up and
We're never gonna get Rosie on the podcast now, guys. Great job.
Not anymore.
But Will McRobb talked about the idea of dads in the 60s, like when the era he was growing up, and how everything was so like we're gonna be we're gonna do it ourselves. We're gonna like do this thing, and it's like, oh, you want to burp a lot? Well, let's just build you a burping room. Let's go do that. And then they go through the effort of like, so it's an absurd concept. But like taking that notion of this do it itself dad, it's like, fine, we're gonna solve our problem doing it this way. Like we're gonna you know, go above and beyond to like make this thing fixed. And I just love that idea and that concept. Burping as a child is just inherently funny. It's top tier comedy in that essence. So yeah, the burping room is such an absurd thing that exists in the pantheon of Pete and Pete, and I love it for that.
Picture this. Nickelodeon takes over your school and puts you in charge.
You brought in a bunch of Nick stars. Yeah. You give the old classroom a little class.
And you turn your gym into Nickelodeon guts. Sound good?
Yeah. Good.
Then put yourself in the picture by entering the Nick Takes Over Your School sweepstakes.
But anyway, it was called Trail Mix-Up, where Roger Rabbit was going camping, and he was trying to start a fire, and he had this stick, and then he had like the bow of a fiddle, and he was trying to rub the sticks together, and then Jessica Rabbit shows up, and then she starts twirling his hair, and of course the camera is, well, the animators let it look like the camera was low camera angle, so when she bent over, her cleavage was all hanging out because it's for kids. And then
Yeah.
she says, "And remember, only you can prevent forest fires," and twirls his hair. And then he fiddles so quickly that it burst into flames.
They had a different mindset of what he was fiddling. I'm just saying. La, 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 la. I'm like, when he started doing this.
Oh, yeah. I'm starting a fire.
Stop it.
Friction.
Stop it. This is family friendly.
If it was good for Disney, it's good for us.
I don't mean anything. See the Little Mermaid original movie box cover?
The song, the Michael Jackson song, oh geez, Man in the Mirror. Okay, so there's a verse there that I never knew what it was, and I thought it was, "And no mustache makes a man any clever." So that's what I thought it was, and I was completely wrong, but it made sense into my childlike mind.
Sure.
That I was like, you're wearing a mustache, so that means you're an older man and you'll be taken seriously. That's why you'll be taken clever. That's why it made so much sense to me.
I used
And
to
I
mess
was
up all of his lyrics. Yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
I didn't even go,
Jamon.
oh, that's what it says.
Does it count if you mess them up now? On purpose?
Oh, I was gonna say, look, don't call me out because I'm pretty sure I still mess them up.
On the world.
No.
Make it a
This is
worse
not a repeat
place.
of the Michael Jackson episode. We are not doing it.
By giving Spice Girls a successful career.
Don't talk much about the Spice Girls.
Nope. So let's end the episode. Thank you so much for
La
listening.
la 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 la.
Going into this episode, as in the one we're recording, not Full House, but this episode of Splat Attack, Manny said something before the episode, and what character are you most like?
Oh, cleaning.
Oh, Danny.
Yeah.
Dinner.
He is such a Danny.
Well,
Yes, yeah.
not all the way. Like I
No,
don't,
no.
I don't boil my change. I don't do that. So it's like,
He's not dusting
But I
the
do-
vacuum.
Yeah.
The vacuum later.
but no, I just, if there's a mess, I need to clean it
Immediately.
like immediately.
When we're giving the dog her pills, we've been trying to put them in things.
And like food and everything.
So
It's
like she was eating
I washed
a
my
hot
hands
dog.
literally 5 times doing that.
He's just eating little bites of hot dog and like he's like scrubbing the floor. It's like taking water with soap and putting it on the floor and then scrubbing it. I was like, you could
Because
just
you're like, you just use a rag, and they're like, no, you can't. You have to use water and soap, and then you dry it, because otherwise you're gonna put that on the floor. It's like
you're just rubbing it into the floor, and I was like, all right,
guys, this is a cry for help, okay? That's really what this is all about.
Can you whistle with your mouth open?
There we go.
What the?
And also,
oh,
in that last round, DJ very, very quickly said our secret slime action. So DJ gets slimed this round. Oh no! And the secret slime action was saying and right there at the very end, DJ went, was he saying this? So the rules state that when a puzzle piece is drawn, the player must say a famous line from Ren and Stimpy or they lose one of their pieces. If they don't know one, just read the quote on the puzzle piece. The instructions also include other phrases that can be used, such as, "You stupid idiot!" or "You bloated sack of protoplasm!" And of course, the ever-popular "Oh, Ren!"
He said while they were getting ready to get started on the show, they didn't really know what to call the show. And they didn't have a logo. and he says they kind of knew the concept of it, with the scary stories and all. And I forgot who he said brought it, but they gave like the producers, the directors, whatever, like this hat. And it had a question mark because they were still deciding on what to call it. And the back of it, they put, "Are you afraid of the dark?" Right? And he says that hat actually gave them the idea for the show. Was that gift?
Wow.
Oh my
Hold on to
gosh.
that.
That
Yeah,
is
that
a
was-
holy grail. Oh
Yep.
my gosh. He signed it too.
He signed it to me. He said, to Zach, Dark Rules, DJ McHale.
Being the host of Nick Arcade meant I never had to buy a video game console or game in the decade of the 90s. The show was done, but they kept showing it in reruns. Some people didn't even know that they were looking at a rerun and we weren't in current production. And the video game fairy would ring my doorbell and go, "Here, boom, here's some more stuff."
Oh my
So is your
Your
living room back
residuals
then
right
just
here.
like all the consoles just stacked
Yes,
on top
okay.
of each other,
Look-
wires going everywhere?
Yes. Okay, so here's what. In the living room, we had a switcher. We had 2 game systems in the living room. My son at the time, he was 4 or 5 years old, and in his room, he had 2 systems. He wanted the PlayStation 1 and he wanted the Sega Genesis. And in another room, we had the old school 8-bit Nintendo, and we had the Dreamcast. And then we had a system in my office where we had inputs so we could connect up the Game Gear.
Well, I wasn't sure the sequence of events because I know that like the pilot and then it didn't get picked up. So I don't know if maybe they passed on the pilot like at the main network and then they just decided, oh, well, let's put it on Nickelodeon for this one-time thing. But it was like Clarissa, because at the last episode of Clarissa Explains It All, she decides she wants to go to do an internship at a newspaper in New York City. So the first episode of Clarissa Now was her in New York City, like her first day at the newspaper. And I remember like it still had the same na 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 theme song, but it was different.
Just slightly different.
It was a little more, yeah.
Did you know what the Burgermobile was before it was the Burgermobile?
I have no idea.
It was the Garthmobile.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
And it's Paramount, so it definitely was.
If I remember right, it disappeared. I don't know how.
Stolen. No,
It may
Someone probably
have
bought it.
Oh no.
Somebody may have bought it and put it in a garage and then just never took care of it, but it resurfaced again. Like somebody found it or bought it from the person who had it, and then they cleaned it up, and then they were able to start using it. Well, I don't want to say using it, but it became part of a tourist attraction that like they had people come over where they could start getting at it and standing in front of it and taking pictures with it again.
I also got a story too from Max Wiener as well too. Mark and his family, they all went and they saw the Good Burger movie at the premiere. This was in Orlando, Florida, not in LA. But Max got to meet Keenan and Kel, and he said like Kel was super energetic and funny, just like in the movie, but Keenan was so laid back and chill.
Nickelodeon presents true stories from famous people. When Dustin Hoffman was playing Captain Hook, he took his work home with him.
I came home a lot of times and talked to my kids as Hook. They wanted me to. I also found out I could get them to go to bed more on time, brush their teeth, get up in the morning when I really scared them good. Instead of giving him a kiss goodnight, I gave him a little hook.
You did?
Just kidding.
Because if you look at the way Nickelodeon was, yes, you had one person who was in charge of the whole thing, but they trusted their people to do their jobs and give, even just looking at the lineup of shows, every show had a different style. Every show had its own flavor. And that's what I wanted. I want everybody here to be represented in Splat Attack in some form. And I wanted them to have their thing that they wanted to do, as well as myself. So everyone's got to bring a little bit of something. We got Manny's heart and amazing energy, which so many people have commented on. We've had Kat's beautiful writing, as well as fun, antagonistic little sister. That's not how she is, but it's fun when she gets to play that part. And And we've had Jordy's just stellar dry wit that kills me every time.
Yes.
Love it.
But his also passion for collecting and what we do, as well as the amazing work that he does that you get to actually see, because all the cool visuals he's done like 99%.
That guy. Yeah. I don't know where he's on my screen.
Somewhere around here.
That guy.
And this one has helped me out this season by having Meg reacts. And like I said, being a big support for me, but also just having the chance to continue to do something special with my wife that it means a lot to me. So thank you again for being a part of this season.
Absolutely.
In that case, let's open up the studio and we'll see all of you Slimesters in the new studio in season 7. We'll splat you later.
Splat you later.
Catch you later.